and also collaborate with the rest of the world, not antagonize them. But I don't see that happening at all, because what I think we're seeing here is the end of empire. And usually what happens is Thucydides' trap. And what is that? Monday, September 9th, 2024, Maneco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. So it looks like America is getting desperate about the dollar, and especially Donald Trump, it seems. I spoke on Saturday about this. I said, can Trump rescue the dollar and America from third world status? And he used the term as well, the third world status. And he was talking about the fact that countries around the world are turning away from the dollar because America has been using the dollar as a tool, as a geopolitical tool, with sanctions and other things like freezing assets and freezing people out of the SWIFT system. And it's interesting because a few days later, because he said that at the Economic Club of New York last week, and then this weekend, this story has come out. Donald Trump threatens 100% tariff on countries that turn away from the dollar. So that doesn't seem very diplomatic to me. So we're going to look at this and what I think about it. And I'm also going to tell you what I think the solution is, not just for the dollar, but for the U.S. economy and for the whole world in terms of trade and a fair, how can I say, monetary system. Before we delve deeper into this topic, just wanted to thank all of you again for your interest in the channel. For those of you who haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you enjoy my videos. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share my videos. And don't forget about hitting the notification bell to be notified of all my new videos. So I'm going to go back a little bit in history before we look at the dollar, Trump, the BRICS, because this is a big part of what's going on here with de-dollarization and the fact that many countries, including Saudi Arabia, are starting to deal in other currencies. We have to go back to the Bretton Woods system, and that system evolved out of the ashes of World War II. And by the end of World War II, America had 2/3 of all official gold reserves. And at Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, there was an agreement that America's currency, the dollar, would be pegged to a weight of gold, $35 per 1 troy ounce. Many of you might not know, but money really is a weight of gold or a weight of silver. Is not these banknotes or dollar bills that we have. This is just currency and debt. So America, of course, was dominant at the end of World War II, and really ran this Bretton Woods monetary agreement up until 1971, and we're going to come to that in a minute, why it ended. So what Bretton Woods system did, as America had most of the gold, was fix all the major and minor currencies in the West versus the dollar. They were pegged. There's no such thing as fluctuation. Foreign exchange market that we've had since the 70s is really a sham. It's like akin to having a market for how heavy the pound or the kilo is going to be, and for that measurement to change every second. Money, as I said, is a weight of gold and silver, and it should be fixed. But unfortunately, with the end of Bretton Woods, that all ended. But anyway, currencies were fixed to the dollar. and the dollar was fixed to a weight of gold. And it was a really pretty good system. And I'll tell you why it collapsed in a minute. But the system was that, let's say France exported wine to the United States, and the United States exported beef or cars to France. They would settle their accounts at the end of the year. And if France had, let's say, $35 surplus, I'll make it simple. I know it was the numbers are a lot bigger. France could go to the U.S. Treasury and take an ounce of gold, demand an ounce of gold, and the Treasury would have to pay that. But what happened is that by the 60s, with especially what was going on in Southeast Asia, with the U.S.'s policy of containment of communism, America started getting involved in a lot of wars. A lot of the military industrial complex started flexing its muscles, and America started spending more than it had. So foreigners noticed this, and there was a finance minister who went on to become president in France who spoke about this in the 60s. And the term that he used was privilège exorbitant, and that was in French, which means the exorbitant privilege. And this refers to the benefits the United States has due to its own currency, the US dollar, being the international reserve currency. And opposition in France. It says here, in the Bretton Woods system, put in place in 1944, US dollars were convertible to gold between countries. In France, it was called America's exorbitant privilege, as it resulted in an asymmetric financial system where foreigners see themselves supporting American living standard and subsidizing American multinationals. As American economist Barry Eichengreen summarized, it costs only a few cents for the Bureau of Engraving and Printing to produce a $100 bill, but other countries had to pony up $100 of actual goods in order to obtain one. In February 1965, President Charles de Gaulle announced his intention to exchange its US dollar reserves for gold at the official exchange rate. He sent the French Navy across the Atlantic to pick up the French reserve of gold, and was followed by several countries. As it resulted in considerably reducing U.S. gold stock and U.S. economic influence, it led U.S. President Nixon to end the convertibility of the dollar to gold on August 15th, 1971, the Nixon shock. So that's what happened. America really abused the Bretton Woods system, and Nixon just said, well, that's it. We won't give you we won't give you an ounce of gold anymore for $35. You just get debt. You get you would get treasury notes, treasury bills, or treasury bonds, or you get what's called cash, dollar bills, but you're not getting real money anymore. And the reason it worked back then is because America was still a very powerful economically, politically, militarily, and the rest of the world was still, especially the global south, the countries that are now BRICS, they're not as united as they're now, and they were not as developed. China was still a backwater, but things are different now, and I think what Trump said on Saturday makes very little sense. And I spoke yesterday on my live stream with Clive Thompson and Andrei Jakubowicz from Brazil, and they both said that they think it shows desperation. And why desperation? Well, because the rest of the world is woken up to the fact that the dollar is not as good as gold. Well, they've known that for a long time, but they've woken up to the fact as well that there's no intention, be it Republicans or Democrats, to cut deficit spending, to cut the debt, to cut the trade deficit, to cut anything. America is not willing to tighten its belt and actually start producing again, because what the exorbitant privilege has done over the years, it's allowed Americans to basically buy things very cheap from the rest of the world. It's kept the dollar way overvalued, while other countries that want to earn dollars to trade internationally, they have to earn those dollars via producing hard assets, raw materials, commodities, or by producing real goods and services, unlike the United States. And I don't think President Trump or candidate Trump understands this, nor does Kamala Harris or anyone really at the top of the U.S. establishment. All they think of the dollar as is a political and geopolitical tool to keep, it's a bully, it's like a bully mechanism, and they don't understand that money and currency is something to do with wealth and the economy, and that you have to respect every other nation, that we're not back in 1944 or even 1971. So Fortune magazine did a little article here yesterday or on Saturday when Trump made this comment. It says, Donald Trump pledged on Saturday to make it too costly for countries to shift away from using the US dollar, adding a new pillar to his tariff platform. And this is what he said: you leave the dollar and you're not doing business with the United States because we're going to put 100% tariff on your goods. He said that at a rally in Wisconsin. So, yes, America has been buying goods, and, well, a lot of goods from all around the world for the last 50 years with the paper dollar. And I guess these countries have benefited from it because hopefully they've turned a lot of these dollars into real assets, and it's allowed them to trade with other countries that also trade in dollars. And I'm not sure what he means here by you leave the dollar, because I'd expect, let's say, a company in, let's say, Germany, if they want to buy something from the United States, they're going to have to pay whoever's supplying them the good or service in the United States with dollars. But if a company in Germany wants to buy something from Saudi Arabia or from Indonesia, I don't see why they should use the dollar. And I think that's the whole problem here. I don't think these countries don't want to use the dollar period anymore. What they want is to use their own currency amongst themselves. And I think, the American elites, and I include Trump in this, don't understand it. They think that they can just force the dollar on everyone, but people know that the dollar is on its last legs as a holder of value, as a currency that is a store of wealth for the long term. And that includes all other currencies, even the currencies of the BRICS countries. And that's why they've been acquiring gold hand over fist, especially since 2022. And there's, of course, a lot of rumors that the BRICS in their summit towards the end of October are going to announce the unit, which is supposed to be a trading monetary mechanism. It's not a currency, but it's going to be based roughly on the gold standard of the 19th century and early 20th century. in that countries will have roughly 40% gold reserves backing their foreign reserves, and the rest will be currencies that they hold. And I think that's the only way forward for America. But Trump is right. America gives up this bully mechanism that is the fiat dollar. Yes, and they will become a lot poorer because they're not going to be able to just print dollars and buy things from foreigners, and that's already happening. And if he is elected on November 5th and tries this tactic, I don't think it will end up well. I don't know what the policy of the other side of the political spectrum is, but it's probably not that much better as well. So what's the solution? I said at the beginning that I'm going to give you my solution. Well, the solution is for, it's cold turkey, unfortunately. America's running huge budget deficits. It's running huge current account deficits with other countries, running huge trade deficits, and that's all resulting in a ballooning public debt. And that's not adding all the unfunded liabilities out there. So, yeah, cold turkey, you just gotta admit that you've been living basically beyond your means for over 50 years and that you gotta tighten your belt and do the right thing. What's the right thing, in my opinion? Well, cut the size of government, cut the red tape, cut taxation, abolish the Federal Reserve, bring back constitutional money, and then America would most probably, challenge the rest of the world, especially China, and also collaborate with the rest of the world, not antagonize them. But I don't see that happening at all, because what I think we're seeing here is the end of empire. And usually what happens is Thucydides' trap. And what is that, Thucydides' trap? Well, it's when an empire is like on its last legs. It's like a cornered rat. It is going to come out and try to come against you in any way it can. It doesn't think rationally, right? And I think that's what America is doing. And it doesn't matter if it's Trump or Harris or anyone else as president. So what do you do as an American, an average American, or someone who's got savings? Well, I've been talking about this ever since I started this channel in 2015. And even before that, when I worked in the City of London, since 2002, I've been warning colleagues, friends, family, that you have to have a little bit of gold and silver to protect you, because the currencies are going to suffer. And the fiat currencies, they will always, they always end up becoming worthless. And BRICS and the other global South countries know this, and that's why they're continuing to acquire gold. And I think America also has to come clean about its gold reserves at Fort Knox, and it has to end the bullion bank control and manipulation of the gold price as well. But of course, that's not likely to happen. Cornered rats never do the right thing. So there you go. Let's have a look at where the markets are this morning. It's 8:40 a.m. London time. I noticed last night when the futures market opened and when Asia opened that Nikkei was down over 1,000 points. It kind of recovered and finished down only 200. The dollar dropped below 142 versus the yen, but now it's rebounded. It's actually above 143, but I still see a lot of volatility in the markets. The key statistic, if you believe in the statistics, but the markets still seem to trade off them. This week is going to be the CPI number for the US on Wednesday. It expected to come out at 2.6%, which is a slower rate than the 2.9 the previous month. Inflation is not falling. The CPI index is still going up, and it's never really ever comes down, except for in recessions. There are little blips, but then they start printing again. So all the CPI is doing is going up at a slower rate, but the prices you pay for everyday necessities still going up. They'll never come down to the prices that you paid 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago. But the very wealthy, their assets will continue to go up in value, and they'll be okay. But anyway, I digressed there a little bit. Spot gold is at $24.95. It's down about $3. High's been $25.02 and the low $24.85. Silver's up 13 cents at $28.05. The high's been 14 and the low 27.69. The stock market indices were down overnight earlier. Now they're back up. We've got the Dow up 180 points, the NASDAQ up 145, and S&P 29. And yes, last week was the worst week for the stock market since March 2023. What happened in March 2023? Well, we had the regional banking crisis, if you remember well. A few banks collapsed back then. And yes, the Fed and the Treasury had to intervene. What about the currencies? Well, as I said, the dollar has rebounded back versus the yen. The pound is down about 0.2%, and so is the euro. What about crude oil? Well, crude oil is up 1.3%. That's WTI. It's back above 68, and Brent is at 71.83. High-grade copper is up 1.5% at 414. And let's just check the Treasury market and the yield curve, of course. Well, the 2-year yield is up 4.5 basis points at 369. The 10-year is up 3.5 basis points at 374. So we're still uninverted now, and it has been since Friday, and it's the first time in 2 years. So we're going to keep an eye on that. And with that, I'm going to wish you all a very good day. Take care. Bye.